Ah, the era of bad Fox Marvel movies. From their early attempts at things like X-Men and Fantastic Four, to their later attempts at things like more X-Men and Fantastic Four again. But unlike the X-Men movies, which have some hits and some really big misses, Fantastic Four, on the other hand, hasn't had the same track record. In my opinion, none of the three movies we've gotten are really that good. I mean, the 2005 and 2007 ones are charming at times, but certainly not good. And the 2015 outing is something I wanted nothing to do with. So, in the spirit of the new Fantastic Four movie, I thought, why not revisit the one I forgot about until Disney Plus recommended it to me about a week ago? Let's get into it. The movie opens showing us that little Reed Richards is not only super smart, but also a super loser. He gives a presentation about how he's going to create a teleporter and he's figured out the math and the science, and his teacher tells him that's a stupid ass idea. Then we watch Ben Grimm get hit by his brother, who says Ben's iconic catchphrase, "It's clobberin' time." That's really fucking weird. From there, Ben and Reed become friends, setting them on their journey to create a teleportation machine. And after a 7-year time skip, Reed and Ben are now grown adults at a children's science fair. I will never understand why movies cast people like Miles Teller, who easily looks like he's in his 20s and was 28 in real life when he filmed this, and he's supposed to be playing a high schooler.
How do you do, fellow kids?
During this science fair, Reed goes up to a literal child and steals his toy airplane for his teleporter presentation. And the teleporter actually works, but the judges are like, nah, the airplane came back with burn marks, and that's magic, not science. Which is so fucking stupid, because how on earth do they think any of this is magic? But don't worry, it only gets dumber after Franklin Storm and his daughter Sue pop into the science fair to recruit Reed. This grown man, who has a whole team of scientists, goes to a local high school science fair to see if high school student Reed Richards will come work for him. Already, the biggest problem with this version of the Fantastic Four is the characters' ages. I don't think high school Reed Richards is nearly as interesting as him already being established as one of the smartest people in the universe, which is kinda his whole thing, that and being a human Stretch Armstrong. So, to speed this up a little, Reed starts working at the Baxter building with Sue and Franklin. He has a conversation with Sue where they act like they've never talked to another human being before. Franklin goes to see a very scraggly Dr. Doom, and he's only convinced to help because he has the hots for Sue. And we meet hothead Johnny Storm in a street race where he crashes his car and forced by his dad to help out on the project. So, our newly established team works on the teleporter, all while Doom gets upset about Sue and Reed having one conversation where she laughs a little bit. I like Toby Kebbell as Doom, but the writing in this movie is so all over the place that he kinda comes across as an incel over a villain. But the machine is complete, so everyone gathers around for the big test of sending a monkey through, and Franklin says that this dimension could be the answer to all their problems. Because the men in charge say that they want to involve NASA and not let the children use the machine, Reed has a super smart idea. And by that, I mean he has a really dumb idea. Because for some reason, everybody in this movie that's supposed to be super smart only seems to do really dumb things. So, Reed, Doom, Johnny, and Ben, while partially drunk, decide to use the machine. The foursome then explore the terrain of the new dimension, and also a mysterious green energy until everything goes to shit. During all the green explosions, Doom falls into a pit, and on the return trip, Ben gets pelted with rocks, Johnny catches on fire, and Sue gets hit with a wave of energy. Our survivors are sent to Area 57 to be studied, where Reed ends up escaping and the government decides to use the other three as weapons. We jump a year into the future where Reed has gone completely off the grid and our surviving threesome use their powers and train at this secret Area 57 facility. This all leads to the Thing going on a mission to find Reed, and we see a glimpse of the Thing's file, and it says he was born in 1986. So this child in 2007 at the start of the movie was just a guy with Benjamin Button disease? Is that why he's named Ben? Because he has the disease? Or is this movie just so fucked up that it thought including the actor Jamie Bell's real birth year was the right decision? Either way, fucking stupid. But I will say, the small bit of action we do get with Reed fighting some soldiers with his power is actually pretty cool. But it lasts for only about 15 seconds and ends when Ben headbutts him. Sue then talks to Reed about what's going on, and he asks her if he ever wonders what life would be like if she hadn't come to the science fair that day. No, Reed. The right question is, do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't had a really stupid idea to teleport into another dimension after drinking and run around touching mysterious green energy? You dumbass. The machine is finished again, so a group of soldier people go through to find none other than Doom still alive. Except now, he looks like a weird crash test dummy. Like, holy shit, I've never seen a comic book character butchered this hard on screen. This is like when they had Galactus and Parallax both be giant clouds of farts instead of anything like their actual comic counterparts. So, of course, Doom breaks free and starts murdering everyone, which also includes Franklin Storm. And Doom's whole motivation is that he thinks the other world is now his home, so he's going to destroy Earth because he thinks that's the only way he can save his world now, or something. All of that leads us to the epic final fight, which is another blue light in the sky. During this time period, I think every superhero movie had a big beam of light in the end. Avengers did it, Suicide Squad did it, Man of Steel did it. Like, it was way more common than it should have been. And this fight is also pretty lame. At first, they get beat up by Doom just using rocks against them. He hits Johnny with some rocks, covers Ben in some more rocks, and brings Sue down with some more rocks. And as for Reed, he just makes them all stretchy, but in a way he can't control until he can control it, and the Inferior Four work together to beat up Dr. Lame. And they mostly beat him up, but it's really just Ben throwing a big rock, Johnny throwing some fire, and Reed hitting him with a punch. The way it all ends is when Ben runs at Doom and yells, "It's clobberin' time," before punching him into the beam and stopping him once and for all. They get a super secret base from the government, and the movie ends on this stupid, dumbass, bad writing, lame-ass line.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
Say that again?
It's fantastic.
Now, I will say that Josh Trank says the studio interfered, and the version of this movie we got is not at all what he wanted, which makes sense because studios love to get involved with these things. The same thing happened with David Ayer in the 2016 Suicide Squad. And with Fantastic, it feels very much like two different movies kind of morphed into one. At times, it feels really dark and gritty, and more realistic in the same way as the Dark Knight trilogy. And other times, it's boring as fuck and nothing happens. That's the two versions I see in this movie, and the one we got is the boring one. I am amazed at how almost next to nothing happens over the hour and 40-minute runtime. It feels like we don't get any real character development from anyone. We go straight from the accident happening to a year later, and they just all have control over their powers. The movie is long enough that these characters could have been flushed out, but everything takes forever to get going, and I feel like the movie focuses way too much on it being stylized than actually having any substance. They decide to use the teleporters after drinking alcohol, and then decide to stick their hand in a green energy they know nothing about. Doom gets left behind, and so he goes fucking crazy and decides to create a black hole on Earth so the four other idiots have to stop him. It's dumb. The whole thing is just dumb. Like how Ben's older brother hits him and says it's clobbering time, so later on, Ben uses that same catchphrase to tackle Doom? Why would he do that? I don't get it. That's such a stupid thing to do. Or how this top scientist is just at high school science fairs looking for someone who can crack his interdimensional travel machine. But I guess that's not nearly as bad as Sue Storm's hair changing from scene to scene. When she's using her powers in this shot, her hair is very blonde. Then, the very next scene, it's less blonde. It's blonde again when they're meeting with the government at the end of the movie, but in the very last shot, her hair isn't that blonde anymore. So nobody was in charge of wig continuity for this character, or did we just kind of say, fuck it? And in some cases, when a director says he has a certain vision for a movie, and we get something else, I can sometimes see what they were kinda going for. But Fantastic is so all over the place, I don't think there's a good movie in here anywhere. So here are some other things I wanted to point out that I thought were strange to include in this. We see at one point that Ben has 43 confirmed kills for the US military by conducting covert ops for them. That's a fun thing to include. Johnny calls Doom Adolf at one point because he thinks that Victor is German, and it's supposed to be funny because... well, I'm actually not sure how that's funny in this movie, honestly. Also, when Sue and Reed first meet, they have no chemistry. An essential point of the Fantastic Four is Reed and Sue's relationship. But that is either completely skipped over or it's so poorly executed that the two almost have a brother-sister vibe. Oh, and the movie starts with some random kid's voice on a black screen, and the kid says that he wants to be like his hero, Eli Manning, when he grows up. That is a wild thing to start a movie with, in my opinion. Like, this kid doesn't want to shoot for a bigger quarterback? Not Elway or Brady or fuck, not even the good Manning? This movie is weird. Everything about it is weird and boring. As I watched this movie, I kept waiting for something, anything interesting to happen. It almost feels like it doesn't want to be a Fantastic Four or superhero movie at times, like it's avoiding it at all costs. And I get Josh Trank was famous at the time for the movie Chronicle, which has a similar vibe, but that doesn't mean that that vibe can work for a team like Fantastic Four. Reed is supposed to be one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe, but this version feels like a big idiot. He isn't even the least bit worried when he sends an airplane through the teleporter at the high school science fair and it comes back with pieces missing. That would be a red flag. I don't want to teleport and have something go missing. That sounds awful. That's a terrible gamble. He thinks bringing his normal friend, who isn't a scientist, along for a joyride in a teleporter is safe and not a bad idea at all, even though they've only done one successful teleportation with an actual living being in it. And then he breaks out of Area 57, and his big plan was to somehow rebuild the teleporter and fix this himself. The thing that cost millions of dollars and took an entire team to build. He was going to do that while also on the run from the government. He's just a moron, and I don't really like any of these characters. They're all either one-dimensional or stupid. So I think we all know where the 2015 Fantastic Four is going, so you can say it with me if you want, but just plain garbage. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this, check out my video on the movie Uglies. It's also pretty bad. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what movie you'd like to see me cover in the future.